So now let's explore foundation models in greater detail. So let's have a look at providers in here, and we can read a lot. So Amazon is going to be one of the cheapest foundation model on Amazon Bedrock because it is provided by Amazon themselves, but you will have maybe slightly less quality, I would say, of output for now than other companies like Anthropic, which is a leading company in AI with their Claude 3 types of model. You get some open source models as well from Meta, and you can get more information. For example, on images, you can get stuff from Stability AI, which is really good at creating images with something called stable diffusion. So each foundation model provider has their own capability, and it's good for you to learn about them in your own time. But from an exam perspective, you are not expected to know the difference between Amazon and Anthropic and Meta and so on, but you're supposed to know about the differences of capabilities of a model. For example, if a model can take a text, if it can take inputs such as files, if it can generate images, and so on. This is more important. But again, no need to know which models can do what. This would be way over the board. Okay, so we have these providers right here, and they are base models, but say we want to compare them from an AI perspective. So let's go back into the chat, and we're going to select a model. We're going to have a look at Amazon Titan Text G1 Premier. We're going to apply it. And here we're going to go into compare mode. I'm going to close this right here. Compare mode, and then select a second model. For example, Anthropic, and then Claude 3 Haiku. Okay. And here we can see the first difference that this model does not support image upload. So if we upload an image, only the right-hand side model will take it into account, and this one doesn't. So this is pretty important because if you do have a use case with images, then the model on the left is obviously not enough. But let's say, what are the most popular AWS services? And then you click on run. So we give the same prompt here to both models, and we get some answers. So this one is saying, I cannot proceed with this request, whereas here we get an answer. This is interesting as a use case, actually. But bottom line is, on the model metrics, we have a look, and we can see here the latency. So we can compare models based on latency. We can compare models based on pricing. So this took an 8 token count input, while this one took a 16 inputs. And then output, well, was 0 because we're getting no answers right now, and 340 because we are getting a lot of answer right here. So let's do something a bit more simple. For example, what is the capital of France? And click on run, and we get Paris is the capital of France, and the capital of France is Paris. So again, you can have a look also at the quality of the output. Do you prefer this kind of wording or that kind of wording? And you can go as complicated as you want, but the idea is that you can have a look and compare the models and getting a feel for it. And again, look at the metrics if you needed to. Okay, so now let's go back into Amazon Bedrock, and I want to show you how to customize a model. So here, custom model is for fine tuning. And so with fine tuning, we want to take one of the base models and we want to enrich it with our own data to create a custom model. Why? Well, because maybe we want to give access to the model to data that it doesn't have yet. For example, internal data. And so therefore, we can customize a model, and we have two options. We can do a fine-tuning job or a continued pre-training job. So the difference here is that this is going to be continuous and is going to retrain over time, while a fine-tuning job is going to be just a one-time thing. So let's create a fine-tuning job just to see the options and to understand it. We're not going to do this. We need to select a model. So not all models can be fine-tuned. We have Amazon, Cohere, and Meta, and some of them are not accessible. So that's why there's like a warning sign. But let's say we want to customize Titan Text 1 Express and apply it. And then we enter demo fine-tuning. So this is the name of the model. Let's scroll down. So this is my fine-tuning job. You can set some settings, but it's not important for us. And most importantly is the input data. So to fine-tune a model, we need to have input data, and the data has to be in what's called Amazon S3. So if you go in the search bar right here and type Amazon S3 and open the S3 service, here we go, the S3 console, Amazon S3, we can see right now if you click on buckets that we don't have any buckets in our account. So buckets are cloud directories in which we can start to put data, and the data lives on the AWS cloud. And so what we're saying here is that the data that is needed to customize Amazon Bedrock must be located in an Amazon S3 bucket. So if we wanted to, we would need to create a bucket and then put data inside of the bucket. And then here you would reference the S3 location being S3 and then the bucket name. And then finally the path to your training data. Optionally, you can have a validation dataset. And then most importantly, once we have specified the data, because this is a machine learning training job, we have what's called hyperparameters. So hyperparameters are configurations for your machine learning training job. And this term will come back a few times in this course. And basically, it tells you how the algorithm should behave. So we have a lot of different settings here that are too difficult to understand for this level of AI exam. But basically, you can change them, such as epoch, the batch size, so how many samples must be processed at once before updating a model, and the learning rate, how fast the model is going to learn or not. And these models will imply that your model is going to behave differently based on the type of learning it gets. And so this is just some advanced settings to customize it, but hyperparameters are very important when you are a data scientist because changing them can really change the quality of your outputs. We'll leave everything as a default. And then finally, where to store the validation outputs. So if we provided a validation data set, we can also have the output data in Amazon S3 to be able to analyze it and make sure that it fits our use case. Next, to do this kind of customization, Amazon Bedrock will need access to Amazon S3 to write to it. And therefore, we need what's called a service role in AWS. It's what gives the permissions to Amazon Bedrock to write to Amazon S3. But because we don't run one, we're not going to do this right now. And as you can see here, to create this fine-tuning job, we need to purchase provision throughputs. And this is going to be very expensive. So we don't do this because this is billed by the hour. And so therefore, just remember that for fine-tuned models, to actually create them and to actually also run them, you will need to purchase provision throughputs. But here we've seen all the options to create a fine-tuned model, and that was the most important thing. Okay, so that's it for models, for base models as well as how to customize them. I hope you liked it, and I will see you in the next lecture.